I built these hobbit homes so long ago now, and I'm ashamed to admit that most of them still don't have interiors. they're just they're just empty stone boxes in here. So, I've got a lot of interiors to make today, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to be reading a bunch of Reddit stories that I found. All right, we got a lot to get to. Let's read the first story. Am I the asshole for skipping my own surprise birthday party once I found out that it wasn't really for me? I've never been big on birthdays. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate them. I just prefer something low-key. Dinner with my closest friends, maybe watch a film, something small, basically. Everyone close to me knows this, especially my sister. Let's call her Maya. My sister loves big gestures and believes every birthday or achievement needs balloons and a theme and much, much more. 2 weeks before my birthday, Maya started acting strange. She kept asking me if I'd be free that Saturday, and acted weirdly when I asked why. I suspected that she was up to something, so I told her again that I didn't want to party. She just laughed and said that as per usual, I was being no fun. A couple nights ago, the night before my birthday, one of our mutual friends let slip that there was going to be a party. She had mentioned what she was going to wear to it. Anyway, it turns out that the whole family was invited to this party, and it was at our parents' house. Some coworkers were also invited, but here's the kicker. Maya had invited my ex-boyfriend as well. For a little context, me and my ex broke up about 2 months ago. It ended pretty badly. No abuse or cheating, but it wasn't a pleasant ending. I've made it pretty clear to everyone in my life that I want no contact. Maya knows this, however, she's told me multiple times that I should just get over this whole situation because he's a nice guy and he's been a part of our lives for years. The first thing that I did when I found out was call Maya, demanding answers, and she didn't deny it. She just said that me and my ex could finally talk it all out. She admitted that she hadn't just thrown the party for my birthday, but it was also so that everyone could see my ex again and we could fix things between us. She literally said that to me. She said that I'd thank her later. I went mad. I said to her that she had no right, that I would have been ambushed into this situation on my birthday. And this was all after I had specifically said that I didn't want a party. She just said that I was being dramatic and bloody ungrateful and that she had planned this whole thing because I wouldn't find better and it was a good gift. She said everyone had gifts and traveled, and that everyone was excited. So yesterday, my birthday, I completely powered off my phone, and I didn't let anyone know other than my best friend. So we went out for lunch and went on a walk together. I ended up having a great day with my best friend. When I finally got home, I turned on my phone and it was mental. Maya was fuming, people were disappointed, people even said I embarrassed Maya. Maya is now basically saying that I ruined the whole party, and I made it all about me. It was literally my birthday. She says that she did it out of a good place in her heart, and that I should at least apologize for not showing up and letting people know. So, am I the asshole? This situation is crazy. I definitely feel bad for this poster. If someone's planning a surprise party for you, they should only be inviting the people that you enjoy being around. It's unhinged to invite someone's ex to their surprise birthday party. That's crazy. I think her sister just wants to hang out with her ex-boyfriend, which is weird. Or she just desperately wants to be the reason that her sister and her ex-boyfriend get back together, which is weird in its own right. It's nice of Maya to want to throw a surprise party for her sister, but don't throw a surprise party with an agenda. Like the poster said, it's not an ambush. It's a party. So no, I don't think this poster's in the wrong for not showing up. I think the way that she handled it maybe wasn't amazing, like just turning her phone off and ignoring everybody who traveled to come celebrate your birthday is kind of a dick move, but it's understandable. I completely get it. She's absolutely not obligated to go spend time with her ex. And if she wants to just turn her phone off and go spend the day with her best friend, then she should do that. But there are a bunch of comments underneath this post saying that the poster should maybe text everybody who came and apologize. And I kind of agree with that. I think an individual text to each person who was coming and just saying, hey, I'm sorry, my sister invited my ex-boyfriend and I didn't want to show up to my own party, and I'm sorry. I think something like that would go a long way to mending those fences with those friends that you kind of stood up. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting situation because I definitely don't think this poster is the asshole. I think her sister Maya just put her in a situation where she just looks like the asshole in front of all of her friends. And now she's in this position where she just has to do a bunch of damage control to help her friends understand what actually went down. I used to be a person that hated surprise parties, and I also kind of thought that I was unsurprisable. Like I thought that if my friends were planning a surprise party for me, I would catch them. But it turns out I'm just super gullible because I've had 2 surprise parties thrown for me and I had no idea they were happening. But like also know your audience. If someone doesn't want to have a surprise party thrown for them, don't throw them a surprise party. Am I wrong for telling the cashier that that wasn't the girl's credit card? This is a throwaway account because my husband told me that I was the asshole and I want to know before I get home and argue. I was in a higher-end department store today and happened to end up next to two teenage girls while shopping. One of these girls had picked out a very expensive pair of boots and they were both fawning over them. The second girl must have looked at the price tag and asked the boots girl if she was really going to spend that much on a pair of boots. Girl with the boots said something along the lines of, "It's fine, I have my dad's credit card, I'm not paying." Which instantly caught my attention because that's not her card. I've told my son multiple times that he's never allowed to use my card, so I'm interested to see how this girl thinks that she's going to get away with fraud. But at that point, the girls had walked away because they found something else. When we're checking out, we end up at the same register, me behind the girls, and I see her total hit well over 4 digits. The girl is about to swipe her card when I decide that I can't let her get away with something like this. And someone has to parent this kid if no one else will. I tell the cashier that that isn't her card, but her father's, and I'm not sure she has permission. The girl and her friend turn and glare at me, giving me possibly the dirtiest look I've ever seen. I swear, this girl was going to throw a tantrum right there. I don't think she's ever been told no before. The girl tells the cashier that her father gave her the card to shop with because it's the store's credit card and it gives him the points. Now that I had pointed out that the card wasn't hers, the cashier told her that she couldn't use that card. The girl tries to show ID to prove that they have the same last name. In parentheses, yeah, that'll help. And I tell her that it's still fraud. The girl says that it's not fraud because she has permission and tells me to mind my own business. I tell her that it is my business that she's doing something illegal and needs to pay with her own card or I'll call the cops. At that point, the girl was pissed and people were glaring at me. She used her own card and left crying. The cashier looked mad at me and I told my husband only for him to agree that I was in the wrong. So am I the asshole? Yeah, lady, you're absolutely the asshole. I realize that really frequently my opinion on these stories is that people should just mind their own business, but this is an example of someone who truly just needs to mind their own business. You are not the checkout police. Why do you care what other people are doing? Is it annoying that this girl was gloating about how she gets to spend $1,000 of her dad's money on a pair of boots? Maybe, but it's not really your problem. I don't know, it's his money and they can have whatever arrangement they want. And she can be judgmental of these girls, but it's not her job to parent them like she seems to think. Also, just yelling at two girls who are presumably much younger than you in line at a department store, it's just come on, that's a bad look. I think this poster just thought that they were going to get a standing ovation from the Bloomingdale's staff. I just don't know why this poster cares so much. Whenever I'm shopping at stores, I'm just zoned in on getting whatever I need and getting out as fast as possible. I don't have time to be looking at other people's payment methods during checkout. Anyways, major Karen vibes from this post. Let's read another story. Am I overreacting about my boyfriend and his girl best friend? My boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 months. We have a fantastic relationship and I love him so much. He treats me amazing, and I've never met any other man that I can see building a life with other than him. We're both in our 20s and live about 30 minutes away from each other. I'm not an insecure person usually at all, but this situation has really been bothering me. My boyfriend's in school for an accelerated program and is friends with this girl who's the president of their class or something. That's what he calls her. I'm assuming she's pretty smart, basically. He mentions her every once in a while, and during the semester, they work a lot together on homework and projects. He's said a lot that she's basically the reason that he's made it through the program. Don't get me wrong, I'm really thankful that he has a friend that can support him in school. I first realized that their relationship might be a bit of a problem about 2 months ago, maybe. She came by his house around 11 p.m. to give him some dessert or something. I was with him and he had friends over. He told me that she was coming and I immediately questioned why the girl was driving to his house at that hour to give him something that she could give him at any other time during the day when they have class together. He tried to brush it off, but his friends eventually made it clear that she probably has a thing for him. He said that he hugs her sometimes, but they're completely platonic. He used the excuse that she's Muslim, and since he's not, and he drinks and smokes, then obviously it's not an issue because she never would be seriously interested in him. I had a real problem with this, and his friend ended up going outside with him to get the dessert. After they came in, his friend told me that they had hugged again outside, and I got really upset and told him that he needed to set real boundaries with her. This problem really didn't come up again until recently, when his family had a Christmas Eve party. His whole extended family was over doing gifts and having dinner. I was introduced to everyone, and it was a great night. But about an hour after I got there, this girl walks in. My boyfriend never told me that she was coming. I was literally in his bedroom, and he just waltzed her right in without warning. Eventually she left, and I told him how her being there really upset me, especially since he didn't mention it at all. He told me he forgot he invited her and really only invited her in the first place because he was trying to be nice. He often says that he's only friends with her because she's the president, and after he graduates, he doesn't need to be friends with her anymore. I thought that was a lame excuse, but he seemed pretty apologetic about it, so I let it go. Since then, I've been thinking about their friendship more and more. And sometimes when I borrow his laptop, his messages from her show up. Tonight I was staying over at his house, but he works the night shift, so he isn't at home. I decided to look at his messages with her on his iPad. Yeah, I know, this is a dick move because you're supposed to trust your partner and all. You don't have to berate me for this. I already know it's a shitty move and I shouldn't have done it. Literally, the first message I see from her is this long-ass paragraph about how much she loves him, basically. So, of course, I kept scrolling. These photos are all the sus messages I found between them from when we started dating about 3 months ago. She sends him heart emojis a lot, and they even tell each other I love you. Now I'm pissed, hurt, and confused. If this was someone that he was just trying to be friends with to do good in school, I feel like they wouldn't be talking this way. The other thing that bothers me is that it seems from these texts that he's gone out with her over and over to her house for dinner multiple times. And I've never heard about it from him. She even drove him and his friend to the airport for a weekend trip to Florida, even though he told me that his mom was driving them. And I told him that if she couldn't take them, I could take them. He never told me that she did this. What should I do? If I confront him, then I have to come clean about looking through his messages. I probably should tell him anyway, but do I have a reason to be suspicious about this? Side note, he's mentioned a lot how a previous girl cheated on him, and now that's his biggest fear. Now it almost seems like a diversion. Here are photos of the texts that this poster found on this guy's iPad. Typically, I would read all of these out, but there's just way too many of them. So I'm just going to put them on the screen quickly, and you can pause if you want to read them all. But to briefly summarize for the audio-only listeners, basically, the boyfriend and this girl he's friends with appear a lot closer in these texts than he's letting on. Like, he's clearly lying about how close of friends they are, and they use a lot of lovey-dovey language, calling each other boo and baby and saying I love you a lot. A lot of, like, heart emojis and whatnot. There's no smoking gun here, like anything that says, aha, he's cheating. But this definitely isn't a good look. Like here, he says, hope you're having sweet dreams, exclamation point. I don't know, man. That's just not something I'm gonna text to my platonic female friend. Here's where he's thanking her for the ride to the airport that he lied to his girlfriend about. He says, on the plane now. Thank you so much for driving. I'm at 2% again, so I'm sending you money when my phone is on a charger. Just accept the lunch/dinner money. It's literally nothing compared to the things you do for me. She says, you don't have to thank me, you're family now. No, I'm okay, save your money please. Have a great trip and please be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Love you, text me when you land. Heart emoji. Then a couple days later she says, morning sunshine, I hope you had a safe flight back. Let me know if you need me to scoop you from the airport. Several times in this conversation, though, they say how great their friendship is, so maybe they're just super affectionate friends. But if that's the case, then he's got to be super clear with his partner how close they are. Because I don't blame this poster for being suspicious when looking at these texts. He's clearly lying about something, or misrepresenting his relationship with this girl. If on the one hand he's saying that he's only friends with her to get better grades, and on the other hand he's messaging her every other day, I love you, or have sweet dreams. I don't know, I think this poster has a right to be like a little bit sus on this guy. Now, should this poster have gone through this guy's texts? No, I think that's kind of always a dick move. My policy is, if you're snooping through your partner's texts, looking for evidence of something, there's just a larger issue in the relationship that needs to be addressed. And also, if you go looking for problems, then you're just gonna find them. Especially if you're the type of person that gets jealous about your boyfriend hugging a female friend, like this poster is. Just trust your partner, and if you don't trust your partner, then there's your answer. You gotta move on. And I think the boyfriend will probably just say that he didn't want to let on to this poster how close they were because she seemed a little paranoid or jealous or whatever. And initially reading the story, I think I might have almost agreed and said that she was maybe being a little bit too hard on him. But reading through these texts, I think I definitely side with her. I think the problems arise when you're sneaking around like this guy is. There are some takes in the comments that I tend to agree with here. One person said, the fact that he lied about who drove him to the airport and visiting her would be the end for me. Not even any of the texts. And then another person responded, right? I feel like some of the texts are excusable, apart from the endless love confessions, but that he's lying to her, taking the friend on dinner dates, forgets that he invites her to things, Plus, his friends say that they have something going and he still doesn't distance himself is just too much for there not to be something. I don't know though, I'm interested to hear what you guys think on this one. I've just been winging this build, as we tend to do on this very professional Minecraft YouTube channel, but I just noticed that I made the door completely off-center and I don't even like it in here. Okay, I stopped recording and made it a little bit better. I didn't really change that much. The main things I added were these, like, indoor window things. I think this house is good for now. I could spend way more time on this, but I'm just gonna go work on some other houses. My best friend is broke. I've been offering him a job at the restaurant I work at for months, and today he confessed to me that he doesn't want to be a server because it's low and people would lose respect for him. I'm deeply offended. The poster of this story is a 31-year-old male, and his best friend that he mentioned is a 33-year-old male. Also, just more context, this story was posted initially in 2018. My friend is broke. He hasn't worked in over a year. He's running out of savings and has even had to ask his parents to support him. I asked him many times why he doesn't try to get a job that's not in his field. He's got a computer science degree, but has never worked in that field a single day in his life since graduating. And he's turned down lots of jobs for any number of reasons. They don't pay him enough, they won't give him a higher up position right off the bat, etc. I'm well aware that he's deluded in that sense, but he has so many other good qualities, and that's why I love him. So since graduating, the only job that he's done is share marketing, something like online investing in foreign exchanges. He said he made about $20 a day, and that was enough for him. He's single, lives in a shared house, and doesn't spend much. Whatever makes him happy, right? The thing is that he's totally broke. I don't think he is really even making $20 a day on the shares because he's run out of money. He's stressed out and won't stop complaining about money problems. This is confusing for me, and I think it comes down to his pride not allowing him to get a job that's not fit for his ego. Now, I work as a server in a very nice restaurant and have offered him a job as a server many, many times. I have a great relationship with my boss, and after telling him my friend's situation, he didn't hesitate to say that he wanted to help out and would like to offer my friend a full-time job. My friend has been turning down this position for months and not really giving much of an explanation. Today he called me and said his parents cut him off and was asking to borrow money from me. I said that, as a personal rule, I don't lend money to anybody, but that he's absolutely welcome to start working with me tomorrow. He again turned down the offer, and I got a bit frustrated because I'm offering him a solution to his money problem, but he just won't accept it. So we got into a bit of a back and forth, and he finally confessed to me that he thinks being a server is low and doesn't get you people's respect. I told him that respect is earned by getting off your ass and doing whatever you have to do to make ends meet. I then asked him if he thought I was low, and he backpedaled, saying that he didn't think I was low in particular, but the job itself is low. He then straight out told me that nobody can respect me working as a waiter in my 30s. Wow. To be honest, I'm pretty upset. He thinks I'm low for working as a server? I got a degree too, but I couldn't find a job in my field, so I had to take the first job that I could. I'm not some prissy prick thinking that I'm too good to serve others. I take pride in being a waiter and doing a great job, so I'm hurt by his comments. Why is he my friend if he thinks I'm low? I didn't want to say something nasty or get into an argument with him, so I only told him that he was being very offensive and I felt like he needed some time to think about what he said to me. He replied saying that there was nothing to think about, then gave me a list of other low jobs like street sweeper, cleaner, etc., and said it's a fact that those are low, not respected jobs. I asked him to apologize before this snowballed into a full-blown argument, and he stood by what he said. I don't want to overreact, but I don't know if I can keep being friends after this. I really don't know what to do. I don't want to badmouth him, but he should examine his life and learn some empathy. I'm a very easygoing and forgiving person, but what he said hurt me and was idiotic. The man who refuses to work calling me low. I don't know what to do. I don't even think I need to say anything. We all hate this guy, right? I know this was written a while ago, but especially right now, it is a hard job market. It's hard to get a job. People with college degrees are struggling to find work. So when you're unemployed, it's not the time to be turning your nose up at a job opportunity. Or if you're unemployed, to be judging other people for the work that they do to provide for themselves. I completely understand this guy's desire to want to get a job that he feels like he'll be respected in, or that he feels uses the degree that he spent a lot of money on, but it really just seems like he's using those reasons as an excuse to just be lazy and sit around and do nothing. And then go around judging other people's jobs? It's just so infuriating. This guy's the worst. And if I was this poster, yeah, I'd be incredibly insulted by what this guy said. And frankly, I'd feel silly for even trying to help him get a job in the first place. But there's actually an update to this story. The poster came back after he talked with his friend again and gave another update. So let me go ahead and read that really quick. In an interesting turn of events, he called me today and said that he'd thought it through and had decided that he's willing to accept the job with only one condition, as if he's the one doing me the favor. That he's to be made manager right off the bat, and that he should move in with me so that I can drive him to work because the bus from his house to my workplace takes 35 minutes, and that's over an hour of commuting in a day. He then suggested that I move my youngest daughter into my eldest daughter's room so that there's an empty bedroom for him in my house. So, obviously, he'd given this some thought. I was dumbfounded. The sense of entitlement and the level of pride you gotta have to make those demands is astonishing. I know he's never had a proper job, but he's not stupid. He has to know you can't be made manager even if you don't know the names of their dishes or how to serve coffee. It's all about his pride. He's got an ego bigger than I thought. He can't be humble enough to accept a waiter job and work things out from there. He needs to be made manager so that it won't hurt his pride as much. To be honest, I had no words for him, and I didn't want to talk, so I hung up. I can't explain how off-putting that conversation was. I feel repulsed by him. I feel disgusted. As if something changed inside me. I can't have a person like him in my life. What makes a person refuse all help out of just sheer pride? My wife says that I've been patient and kind enough to him throughout the years and that I should just let him figure out things on his own. I know he's got no money, but then why won't he accept this job? He's not shy, has no mental health issues, has no problem dealing with people. He's refused so many other jobs in the past, even jobs related to his degree. He's got the wrong idea that he should be given higher up positions right from the start because he's him, and that's what he deserves. That's the reason that he hasn't worked a single day since graduating like a decade ago. Anyway, I've got to do some deep thinking and reevaluate this friendship because I don't like the person he's becoming. His dad is a bus driver and his mother is a retired teacher. They're lovely and humble, down-to-earth people. I think they've done the right thing cutting him off. I know they're both struggling financially, so it's not fair to have their son leeching off of them. His mother even tried to go back to work doing some tutoring in order to make some extra money to be able to support my friend. I'd be so ashamed if I made my 70-year-old mother go back to work just so I could be sitting at home dreaming of landing the perfect job while actively doing nothing to get one. Sorry, I'm just so mad. My wife says it's time to cut the cord and distance ourselves from him. I think she might be right. Yeah, you know what? After that update, I've changed my mind. I would want to end the friendship with this guy. I don't know, I just wouldn't want to hang out with him anymore. If he's that entitled and prideful that he's asking to be manager of your restaurant when you're just offering him a server job to be nice, and he has no experience at all, I don't know, it would just change your perspective of your friend, and you would see them in a new light. This poster has been really kind to his friend, offering him a job, trying to help him through this hard time. And if he doesn't respect your job and is too prideful to take it, then, I don't know, it just makes you wonder what he actually thinks about a lot of things. I want to be careful because it might sound like I'm shaming people for not having a job, which is absolutely not the case. Like I said, it's incredibly hard to find a job right now. I just think this guy in particular sucks because he's thinking less of other people for having jobs while he himself has no job at all. Am I the asshole for having a lights-out wedding? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I'm the daughter of the most amazing parents. No, they're not perfect, but they've literally done everything they could do in their lives to make sure that I was happy to the best of their ability. They're also both blind. Being raised by blind parents wasn't without its challenges, but we always found solutions or compromises. But the one thing that was often a point of contention, especially when I was a teenager, was clothing and fashion. My parents have their own way of being fashionable, and rather than appearance, it's fabric/clothing feel. This has resulted in them having a really eccentric sense of fashion. I admit that I hated it as a teenager, as I had no say in my own wardrobe purchases. But I realized after I moved out that I really did prefer to feel comfortable in my clothes over how I looked in them. It took many stupid expensive clothing purchases to realize this, but I digress. Nothing is mismatched anymore, but I have a super cozy wardrobe. With the wedding planning in full swing, my future husband asked me if I was going to be okay with the photos. He did not mean this maliciously. It just didn't occur to him that I was originally planning to buy my parents clothing to wear, rather than wearing their usual clothing. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, wouldn't a fabric wedding be more special? Essentially, the whole wedding will be in the dark. I realized that I don't want to dress my parents. I want them to be comfortable and to enjoy our wedding the way that they experience it. And the more I think about it, the more I realized that I want to experience this special day as they would too. My future husband, honest to God, does not care. In his mind, the moment I said yes, I became his wife. To avoid accidents, we're going to be using glow stick lighting and everyone will be provided a glow bracelet and necklaces. They light up enough so people won't crash into each other, but not so much to light up the room. We're also hiring event staff with night vision. No shot. No shot. This is real. We're also hiring event staff with night vision equipment as well. When we announced, most of my family was supportive. My family goes without saying. My fiance's family is iffy. His brother loves the idea and is going to come in a velvet suit. Honestly, it's his parents that are really against it. We had a huge fight over it, and they argued that it's not fair to punish the guests just because my parents are blind. The reason I think I might be the asshole is because part of his family that is siding with his parents are vowing to boycott the wedding if we don't have lights. My husband just thinks that it's their loss, and that his parents will attend even if begrudgingly. But I know it would hurt his relationship with them, and I don't want that. It's not that this is a hill I'm willing to die on, but this is my wedding. And this would be really special to me. Am I the asshole? Okay, when I initially read this, I thought that there's just absolutely no way that this is real. But this poster kept coming back and making edits and adding additional context, so I don't know, maybe it is. I'm going to go ahead and read some of these edits here. We've hired a wedding planner whose literal job it is to make sure that the event runs smoothly and safely. They are literally being paid to factor in any contingency to ensure that this is the safest experience. There will be staff wearing night vision goggles, monitoring every table to ensure everyone's safety. And so if anyone needs help or guidance, they'll provide it. There were 200 invites sent out, and 121 have RSVP'd yes. Each table is set to seat 6 people, so at this time, we're paying for 20 extra hands to cover the tables for 121 guests. This isn't counting our table or the exits. I've heard a lot of people imply that glow bracelets and glow necklaces won't be enough. Having been to many nightclubs and raves in my teens and early 20s, I can promise you that 120 people wearing these is enough to see with. And the staff will manage the rest concerning tripping hazard and direction. A lot of people that are saying I'm the asshole are making very valid points, and I'm discussing them with my future husband. I'm also making a list of strong points to go over with my planner tomorrow. But for those people whose only argument is that they wouldn't be comfortable not being able to see, that's literally the point. You're not supposed to see. If someone came in a giant costume, I'd be thrilled to have ran into them. The wedding isn't going to be focused on visually enjoying the experience, it's about hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling it. I know for a fact that enjoyment isn't dependent on sight. The idea of the catering staff wearing night vision is cracking me up, dude. I'm all for having the wedding that you want to have, but this just feels like we're doing way too much here. If you're cramming 120 people into a dark room, including like your elderly family, something's gonna go wrong. Grandma is gonna trip and have a coronary. Something's gonna go wrong. And I know the argument is just, oh, people can say that they don't want to come. They can just opt out. But that's the thing. Weddings are also for your family members and friends to like have a good time and witness you get married. But this just feels like this poster is creating a hostile environment. I mean, I'm sure the night vision catering staff is on it. I'm just picturing like Navy SEALs serving people their salmon and stuff. It doesn't sound like a totally unfun idea. I think it would be fun if you maybe waited until the end of the reception and for like an hour or the last few songs you turned out the lights and did glow sticks and glow necklaces, glow bracelets. That could be really fun. And if the point is for people to wear comfortable clothes to your wedding or clothes that they're comfortable in, just make no dress code. Just allow people to wear whatever they want to wear in the daylight. I don't know though. Maybe I'm being too traditional here. I feel like I'm not saying anything crazy, but maybe I need to open my mind to dark weddings. That's kind of a wild one though. This post is from a couple years ago, so I wonder if it ever actually happened. Am I the asshole for not paying to have my partner's birthday gift professionally framed? I gave my partner a painting for her birthday by one of her favorite artists. She already owns several pieces from this artist. A while back, the artist was having a sale and my partner mentioned that she was thinking about buying one. But she decided not to when she realized the price was in USD and not CAD, making it too expensive. I ended up buying the piece as a surprise for her birthday. It cost me about 1,400 CAD. CAD, I think, is Canadian currency? Canadian dollars? Do you guys use dollars? Loonies? I don't know what you guys use. It's Canadian. After I gave her the painting, she told me that it would cost around 850 Canadian dollars to get the piece professionally framed. Apparently, this specific artwork required a special frame and glass to properly preserve it, which is also what the artist recommends. The pieces also tend to go up in value, so proper framing matters. My partner is now upset because she feels that she's stuck paying for the framing, which she says isn't affordable for her. She believes that since I bought the artwork as a gift, I should have agreed to cover the framing as well. And that otherwise it's not really a gift if she now has to spend $850 because of it. From my perspective, I already spent a significant amount on the gift itself, and didn't realize the framing would cost that much. I also didn't intend to give her a financial burden. I just wanted to surprise her with something meaningful. She also expressed frustration that she had to bring this to my attention and that I didn't realize or come to this conclusion on my own. Am I the asshole for not paying for the framing? This to me is absolutely an overreaction on the girlfriend's part. I would be offended if I got someone a really expensive gift and their reaction was, "Where's the rest of my gift?" $1,400 is a lot of money. That's a pretty penny. And I think if someone's willing to spend that kind of money on you, you should just be appreciative. I am reading through the comments on this post though, and it does really seem important to people to have proper care for a nice piece of art. There's this one comment in particular that explained it pretty well. "I'm an artist and I collect art. And yes, the framing sometimes is as expensive as the art itself, especially when it needs a glass cover for certain oil-based media that never fully dries. Each person is different though. I rather have a nice piece that I really want and safely store it away until I can afford to frame it. I actually have done this several times. I do also agree that a gift with conditions that requires more money to be spent is usually half a gift though. So while I do see why she's upset, I also feel like she's being very ungrateful as art is unfortunately a luxury at this point in history. She's lucky that she has someone thoughtful who thought of her and spent that kind of money on her. $1,400 is no joke. Plus, I would add that $800 sounds like the amount that she was willing to spend before she found out it was US and not Canadian. I guess I just broadly agree with that comment. I completely get it. This poster should probably be willing to put up some money to get it framed properly. But like that comment said, just store the paintings safely for a bit and then get them a frame later on, like as a birthday present or something. I don't think it should be that big of a deal in the short term. Reddit commenters were saying that nobody was the asshole here, and I see where they're coming from. I guess I just think that the initial reaction of the girlfriend was so ungrateful. But what do I know? I don't know anything about art. I've decided that I'm going to forcefully remove a bunch of villagers from their homes and move them into my new housing development. I don't think I've ever shown this because frankly I'm embarrassed of it. This is the secret prison that I've created for my mending villager. I don't really think he gives me good deals on anything, but this is where I come whenever I need a mending book. Why is this so impossible? What am I doing wrong here? I know you can attach leads to ghasts. I know you can do this. Okay, thank God. I hate working with villagers, man. All right, here we go, gang. Let's go to your new home. Honestly, with the villagers in here, this place is starting to come alive already. The mending bookstore is here. This is where I put the mending villager. I actually really like the way this room came out. Got kind of a whimsical vibe going on in here. I hope our boy likes it. He's trapped here forever. And then next door, I totally didn't mean for this interior to turn out looking like a dungeon, but it just sort of did. This just looks like the least cozy room you could possibly live in. Oh, good, there's a leak in the roof. Somebody should probably tell the landlord about that. All right, we've got another wedding story here. We've got a lot of wedding stories and like stories about people's jobs in this one. We've got a little bit of a theme happening here. Okay, anyways, this one's titled, Final Update from Photographer Who Deleted Her Friend's Wedding Pictures. Here's what this poster wrote. I'm not really a photographer. I'm a dog groomer. I take lots of photos of dogs all day to put on my Facebook and Instagram. It's my thing, if that makes sense. Your dog gets a trim and a photo with every appointment. I very seldom shoot things other than dogs, even if I have a nice setup. A friend of mine got married a few days ago, and wanting to save money, asked if I would shoot pictures for them. I told him that it's not really my forte, but he convinced me by saying that he didn't really care if they were perfect. They were on a shoestring budget, and I agreed to shoot their wedding for $250, which is nothing for a 10-hour event. On the day of, I'm driving around and following the bride as she goes from appointment to appointment before the ceremony, taking photos all along the way. I shoot the ceremony itself, and during the reception, I'm shooting speeches and people mingling. I started around 11 a.m. and was due to finish around 7:30 p.m. Around 5 p.m., food was being served, and I was told that I cannot stop to eat because I need to be a photographer. In fact, they didn't even save me a spot at any table. I was getting tired at that point and was kind of regretting doing this for next to nothing. It was also unbelievably hot. The venue is an old Veterans Legion and was like 110 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no AC. I told the groom that I needed to take off for 20 minutes to get something to eat and drink. There was no open bar or anything. I couldn't even get a water, and my 2 water bottles had long been empty. The groom told me that I either needed to be a photographer or leave without pay. With the heat, being hungry, and being generally annoyed at the circumstances, I asked if he was sure, and he said yes. So I deleted all the photos I took right in front of him, and took off saying that I'm not his photographer anymore. If I was to be paid $250, honestly, at that point, I would have paid $250 just for a glass of cold water and somewhere to sit for 5 minutes. Was I the asshole here? They went right on their honeymoon, and they've all been off social media. but a lot of people have been posting on their wall asking about photos with 0 responses. I definitely have a lot of thoughts on this, and I am for sure on the side of the poster here. Honestly, the groom was being a dick to her, so I get it. And she was being underpaid, and not giving her a break is absolutely ridiculous. But there's actually more updates to this post, so I'm going to go ahead and read those really quick. This first update is from 4 weeks after that initial post was made. The bride contacted me when they returned home from their honeymoon and asked me my side of the story. I don't know when the groom spilled the beans, but he wasn't truthful about it. He told her that I had camera problems and lost the photos. I told her plainly what happened and told her that while I felt guilty, it was no way to treat someone who was doing them a favor. She wasn't in the know about any of this and asked me if there was any way that we could mend it. We got to talking, and I've agreed to do a reshoot for some photos later in the season. She wants some photos of just them in an outdoors shoot, photos of the rings, some artsy-fartsy shots, and that's it. She offered me the original $250, and I agreed under the condition that I would bail at one word of crap from either of them. As for the original photos, I offered to bring my SD card to a place that could attempt to recover them, but at their cost, and the bride declined. Word did get out on social media about some of this, and we agreed to sweep it under the rug and try to diffuse or downplay what happened. Okay, and then there's one more quick update 7 weeks after that. Update. I bailed on the photo shoot. It was meant to be later in November so they could have snowy photos, but a few nights ago they asked if I could do it the day before yesterday. I wasn't doing anything that day, so I agreed. I picked out a location I thought was nice, as there's lots of wineries and vineyards in our area, plus it's relatively close to me. I met them there and they were both prettied up and ready to go. We congregated around my car while I was unloading my lights and gear bag, and I talked to them about how the shoot was going to go. I laid out the specific shots that I was going to take, where the lights would be, their poses, etc. I asked the husband if he could help me carry sandbags, and he declined, saying that being a photographer is my job, not his. Something in me snapped at that moment, and I just started loading my stuff back up again and got into my car despite their protests. I remarked that when they both get married a second time, don't contact me to shoot it. I rolled my windows up, locked my doors, and off I went. The first thing I did when I got home was block everyone. This relationship was already threadbare, but this just cemented them as awful people, and I'd do best not to associate with them. All told, my investment in this shoot was maybe 30 minutes making a game plan on what shots to do, and a 5-minute drive each way. That is, if you don't count my previous day wasted. At the very least, I find solace that I wasted their time and money on makeup and whatnot. As well, I'm learning that I'm not really cut out for this stuff. I need more experience, in particular dealing with clients, before I take on this kind of work again, because I'm quickly learning that I'm hating this aspect of it. You know, I really thought that was going to have a happier ending with the way that that was going for a minute. I guess it's happy in that the poster got away from those terrible people. Well, I mean, actually, the bride doesn't really sound bad at all. The bride actually sounded pretty understanding for the poster's situation and was trying her hardest to mend fences. It's just really too bad that her husband couldn't not be a dick for like 5 minutes. And I mean, what was this husband even doing? If your photographer has been working all day for like 10 hours, she deserves a break. It's his fault for hiring one photographer. And then if she asks for some help carrying some equipment or sandbags or whatever, just help her carry stuff, dude. I don't know, this one's just making me mad. I'm glad that this poster got out of there. Am I the asshole for not holding the door for a woman? Recently, I, 38 female, switched my daughter to a new daycare. The entry system is similar at both daycares. You enter a code and a password into a keypad, and it unlocks the door. Only people who are authorized to pick up a child are given the code, and those people have their IDs checked and are on file with the daycare. At the old daycare, the rule was that you are not to hold the door for anyone. Every new entrant must use the code to open the door. They didn't explicitly tell me that this is the rule at the new daycare, but I figured that that was the case, and it's certainly a policy I appreciate. The other day was one of my first times at the new daycare. As I entered, an older woman in her late 60s was standing behind me. I entered the code, and she tried to follow me into the doorway. I sort of blocked the door with my body and said, "I'm sorry, I think you have to use the entry pad." She said, "Oh, I'm just somebody's grandma." I said back, "Okay, but I still don't think I'm allowed to let you in. There's a button right there where you can ask the front desk person to let you in." She huffed and she said, "Are you really not going to let me in?" And I said back, "Sorry, I'll let someone inside know that you're waiting." And I pulled the door closed behind me and alerted a staff member that someone was waiting. Maybe 10 seconds later, I hear the door open behind me. The woman was walking in right behind me, muttering under her breath the whole way and giving me a dirty look once she passed me. I'm certain she thought I was the asshole. When I told my husband about this, he said that I was not the asshole, but I probably should have just let her in. In my opinion, crazy comes in all shapes, sizes, and ages, and I'd rather make a situation uncomfortable than potentially unsafe for my child or any other children. So, am I the asshole? Okay, hear me out here. Everyone on Reddit in the comment section is saying that this person is not the asshole, and I agree. I just know that deep in my soul, if I was in this situation and there was an old woman standing behind me trying to get into this place, I'm letting her in every single time. And I know I'm probably wrong for that, but I'm weak. I'm for sure letting her in. Now, if it was a guy, I would probably have no problem just saying, hey, sorry, yeah, I can't let you in. You got to put in the code. But I just hate feeling like I'm being rude. And if it's an old lady behind me and she's like, oh, I'm just somebody's grandma, I don't stand a chance, dude. But I don't think this person needs to feel like they were an asshole just because they were following the rules. I think I probably agree with the husband here. Maybe this poster should have just let her in. It's just easier that way. Sometimes you gotta know when to bend the rules to, be a polite member of society. And this is probably one of those situations. Just hold the door. Who cares? I don't know though, she did do the right thing. You don't want to be the person that, let in the murderous grandma. This is just my nightmare situation because I'm terminally non-confrontational. By the way, you didn't ask, but the slime farm is actually working like a charm. It is so pitifully slow. It is not an efficient farm, but this is more slime than I will need for the next couple years. I dined and dashed last night because the service was so fucking bad. Having worked in customer service for so many years, I have great leniency for when things go wrong, but last night just broke me. I ordered a cocktail, an appetizer of chips and dip, and an entree of steak. After I got my cocktail, it was 40 minutes until anyone came by my table again. I saw my server waiting on the table adjacent to mine, and they did get their food. However, he wouldn't even look in my general direction to get his attention. Now, I wouldn't mind a wait, as I understand that a kitchen gets backed up or whatever. But for 40 minutes, at least communicate something or ask if I want another drink for fuck's sake. When my food finally did arrive after 40 minutes, it was just my entree, no appetizer. I reminded them, and they said they would bring it over, but at that point I was already checked out. I ate what I could finish as I got kind of full, and then I waited for them to come by again and said that I wanted a check in a to-go box. However, at this point, I realized that they simply wouldn't be coming back at all. So I said fuck it and straight up left. I was seriously so pissed off at that point. I never in my life thought I would dine and dash, but they pissed me off so much last night. This is kind of a tough situation because I understand that bad service really sucks. I hate just sitting there watching other people get their food. Meanwhile, I'm just fuming, wondering where my food is, or why my server won't come talk to me. But back in the day when I was waiting tables, I actually got dine and dashed on as well. I don't really think it was my fault. I was doing a pretty good job getting their table, everything that they needed. But they absolutely waited until I wasn't looking and just left. I was back in the kitchen and I came out and my table was just gone. It was 4 guys and they just completely vanished. And my manager was pissed at me because I hadn't seen them leave. I don't know, they just snuck out. That's not my fault. I guess they were sort of benevolent dine and dashers though, because they did end up leaving me a tip. They left a couple bucks on the table for me, which was kind. I guess they didn't have to do that if they were just gonna leave and eat their food for free. I'm glad that they still thought of me. I guess for this situation, it's a bit different. If you're sitting there and there's absolutely no service, I can definitely understand wanting to just get up and leave. This guy isn't asking if he's the asshole, but I think in this situation, they're kind of both assholes, both the server and him. He's an asshole for leaving without paying, and the waiter's an asshole for not paying attention to his table. I've decided that I'm not quite done with this purple house. I don't quite like the way that I made this oddly shaped side room, so I'm gonna try and fix that really quick. This is the issue with not planning your builds and then just sending it and making them while you're recording. There's always stuff where I'm like, well, that looks like garbage. I don't know, it's tedious, but I hope you appreciate the process. Am I overreacting? My coworker took a video of me outside of work to prove that I'm not disabled. This is a weird situation, so I need to know if I'm crazy for going as far as I did. I have a condition of chronic pain. The way I explain it to people without chronic pain is that if pain were on levels from 1 to 10, normal people are at most a 2 or 3 from day to day, where people with chronic pain are more like a 6. Imagine stepping on a Lego or hitting your funny bone. That's a very brief but excruciating 8. It's like if you pulled a muscle, and so there's pain and discomfort if you move, but pretty much daily. Some days I'm higher on the pain scale. Rare, blessed days, I'm more of a 4, or by some miracle lower than that. Overall though, I'm active and operate well. I do own canes, but I only use them on days when the pain is really bad. Such a day came this past Sunday. On top of my full-time job, I have a part-time job as well. Due to being physically and legally disabled, I had all the paperwork already filed with my job in case I ever need accommodations. I have a handicap marker on my license plate and the placard on my rearview mirror and the works. I was recently moved to a location closer to my home. I love my new team. My boss Amy is really great. My colleague Casey and I get along okay, but we're the same position as assistant coordinators to Amy. The reason I was moved to that new location was because our company expanded and they needed more hands, so they added me. Casey has wanted a promotion for a long time and everybody knows it. I was pretty open about not wanting a promotion. Any promotion from my position would be full-time and I already have a full-time job. I do this job to pad my savings and because frankly I like the job. Being busy also helps with my anxiety. I mean, Casey works hard, but she also likes to talk over me or rush to take charge of something before I can when I was clearly getting to it. She then announces it. She says something like, "Oh, I handled that for you, OP. Don't worry." And at first I was annoyed, but over time I was like, alright then, you didn't have to, but you did. I talked to my boss Amy about this. I want to pull my weight, but it can be challenging and redundant when Casey is constantly racing to beat me to it. The point was for us to split tasks evenly. Amy said that she would talk to Casey, and I don't know what came of it, but things really haven't changed much, so I've just accepted it. So when I came in on Monday with my cane, everyone had questions. I emailed Amy Sunday night, so she knew I was in pain, but I tend to be private, so what I told everyone else was that I have a condition and sometimes I need a cane, but not always. Amy accommodated me. She assigned me tasks that required little to no movement. I was really grateful, and I got everything done pretty early, so I called over the radio to see if there was anything else I could do. Casey said no, she's got it, so I just handled other admin stuff that's usually on the back burner. I literally just replied with, "Okay, I'll tackle the admin list then." Casey tried to take that admin work from me as well, but Amy ended up intervening. I still needed my cane yesterday, Tuesday. I completed most of my admin to-do list and Amy was so relieved to have it done. She thanked me for coming in and for all the help instead of calling out of work. Casey made a comment that she could have helped more, but I said that's okay and thanked her for handling the more physical tasks. Casey and I then ended up walking to the parking lot together after work, and she asked which car was mine, so I pointed at it. Then she said, "So, I know you're not disabled, by the way." And I asked what she meant by that. She just repeated herself, and then said, "So no cane tomorrow, okay? I won't tell. Just no cane tomorrow." I stood there for a moment and just thought, what the fuck? But I had plans to meet my best friend, so I had to quickly leave just to make it on time. I met my best friend Joy at the bar, and we had a wonderful time. I brought my cane, but to be honest, I didn't always use it. For example, I didn't use it to walk from my table to the bar to request another drink, or when I got up to hug Joy goodbye. Today when I woke up, my pain was higher than normal, so I took my cane along. I texted my boss Amy that I have my cane, but I'm doing okay in small bursts, so I should be fine to work. I was having a good time at my main job that day, and so I didn't give Casey a second thought. When I arrived at my part-time job, Casey saw my cane and went red. And I mean really red. She got super mad. I greeted everyone, and she just ignored me completely. We got our assignments for the day, and she snidely said to me, "Well, can you handle that with your cane and all?" In a tone that even made Amy turn and look at her like, what the fuck? I said I could manage and thanked her again for her concern, and we went about our work. Once again, she raced to beat me to things and saying over the radio, "Don't strain yourself, OP. I did S task or got Y done." I was so confused with all this until about an hour ago, when we finished work. Casey again walked with me to the parking lot, but this time she stopped to show me a video. It was a video of me. It was me at the bar last night with Joy. I was just like, why do you have a video of me? She said it's proof. I asked proof of what? She said it was proof that I'm not as disabled as I say I am, and that I was acting wounded all day at work yesterday. But then suddenly after work I don't need a cane in a bar? I wanted to explain that that's just not how chronic pain works. Like yes, I can stand up and hug a friend or get up and walk 3 strides to order a new drink. But I can't, for example, lean over and organize the bottom of a drawer without a chair to sit in. I wanted to explain that chronic pain is an umbrella and under it are a myriad of experiences and abilities, and that honestly, if she had left any tasks alone, I'd have done them. She didn't give me a chance and said, "No cane tomorrow, I'm serious, or I'm going to Chad." Chad is Amy's boss. I said, "About what?" But she was already walking away from me and just got in her car and left. I'm not so much worried about being found out or anything, but it's just weird, and I'm literally typing an email to Amy CCing Chad about this weird behavior because it's just odd. Am I crazy to want to preemptively explain this? I'm anxious and paranoid in general, so I don't want to overreact or make things worse. Yeah, I mean, this poster's coworker is just absolutely unhinged and jealous that their boss likes this poster more than them. I'm just really enjoying the image of this coworker standing next to this poster in their work parking lot, next to the car with the handicap tags and the handicap placard in the handicapped spot, accusing this poster of not being handicapped. I mean, listen, I don't know how believable it is, but you have to be exceptionally crazy to follow someone to a bar after work just so that you can film them and try and prove that they're not as handicapped as they say they are. If this post is real, I feel like this is pretty cut and dry. This poster just needs to go to their boss and say that Casey followed them to a bar and filmed them without their permission. That's insane behavior, and I'm sure their boss would be like, okay, Casey's fired. This isn't rocket science. But I think this video would backfire more on this coworker than the poster. The video is more proof of this coworker's insanity rather than this poster actually being fake handicapped. Hey, I'm editing right now, and I just wanted to cut in really quick and mention that this post actually has an update since I've read it for this video. The update was posted only a day after the initial post. I don't know how I missed it. But I gotta get the rest of this video edited and posted, so I can't read it right now. But if you want to read the update for yourself and see how it ends, the link in the description will have both the initial story and the update. Am I the asshole for saying fourth time's the charm when my uncle talked about getting married again? On Sunday, we were meeting at my uncle's for a kind of pre-Christmas meetup because one of my aunts had to leave today. I was with my dad and my uncles in the backyard. My dad asked my uncle how his plans for getting married were going. So I should give some context here. My uncle's first marriage ended almost 2 decades ago. I have 3 cousins from that marriage, whom I used to be very close to, but their mom got custody of them, and now we rarely see them. Then around 8 years ago, he got married to a woman from overseas. Brought her here, she already had a guy here, she called the cops on him for some made-up thing, and when he came back from a night in jail, she'd left. This is just what I've heard. I was in college at the time, and the marriage didn't even last 1 term, or long enough for me to come back and meet her. It lasted a week, I think. Then 3 years ago, he got married overseas again, and this time her parents changed her mind, so they got divorced while there. Naturally, I've never met her either. So when my dad said that comment about how his marriage plans were going, I looked at my uncle and asked him if he was really looking to get married again. He said yeah, and that he thinks he needs a partner in life. I just said, without thinking, fourth time's a charm. My uncle didn't take it well. While my other uncle found it hilarious. I'm pretty sure my dad did too, but he was being diplomatic about it. Today my mom told me that my uncle told my dad it was really rude and disrespectful of me to say what I said. She said to just apologize to him when we see him at Christmas. I said sure, whatever, I'll apologize. This uncle has always been the fun uncle who would hang out with us cousins, so I thought he could take a joke, but I'll apologize for sure. Was I the asshole? Listen, I mean, I definitely think that is a funny comment to make. I would have laughed, but it is objectively mean to say that to your uncle. This poster is definitely an asshole for making that comment, but it seems like he does understand that what he said was wrong. I think he just didn't read the room correctly, which for sure happens. I totally relate to that. But yeah, I mean, making fun of the fact that his uncle is on his 4th marriage, you probably gotta be really close with your uncle to get away with that. I don't think this poster is actually a dick though. I think he just made a mean joke on accident. And I think as long as he apologizes, it's fine. His uncle will get over it, and maybe he'll finally stop marrying women from overseas and getting divorced immediately within like a week. That's crazy. Alright, that's all the Reddit stories in Minecraft I've got for you today. The villagers seem to love their new homes despite being forcibly relocated. I don't know how this guy got in here, but he's trapped forever now. Super quick outro today. No frills outro. Just want to say thank you for watching. Very bare bones. I get a little too wrapped up in rambling in the outros, and that is bad. It's bad for the analytics. YouTube hates it. So I'm not rambling. I would never ramble in an outro. Okay. All right, bye.